Excuse me. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Kai Waza with you. John Charles, aka. And welcome back to my channel, the Kai Waza YouTube channel, and to Season 4, Episode 24 of The Cheap Lounge. Next episode will be our Season 4 season finale, Episode 25, so... Not that anything particular happens on season finales, but it'll wrap up season 4. I wasn't actually going to do this today. I was going to work on some more music and digitizing some more records, which I do every single day. But yeah, a bit of a problem with that right now. I can't upload anything to the radio stations. I don't know any of them, any of my 4 radio stations. Since sometime yesterday, it just, you upload it, the MP3 files, and it gives you the little buffering, and where it usually says uploading, 1 of 5, or however many tracks you're uploading, it just says uploading 0 of 0, and gives you the little thing, and whether I upload 1 or 5 or whatever, it just won't do it. And I've tried all the stations and it's not working. I did contact the support for Live 365, and as I suspected, they said, well, it's fine on this end. We can upload stuff. Seems like must be something happening over there with your internet. And I do think it is the internet. We've had some very inclement weather, some flooding and storms and whatnot the past couple days. The internet has gone out a few times for like 5 hours at a time. It's happened a couple times this week. So, and I don't know exactly when it happened, but whenever it was, I was trying to upload something the day before yesterday or whenever, and it wouldn't do it. That was my first thought, because the internet's been a little bit slow. Yeah, my Spectrum, anyway, which is what I have in the house, has been kind of slow. My AT&T on the phone seems to be normal, fine. I don't know. So, but I know they had some service interruptions and whatever the past few days. So I'm hoping that's all that it is, and that, in the next couple days, it'll get cranked back up full speed, whatever. I already done everything you're supposed to do. I mean, all the things you do, turn everything off and on, and reboot this and reboot that, and do everything on the laptop, and do everything with the modem, and blah, blah, blah. And it's not, it's working. It's just not, even when I'm just trying to play some YouTube videos on my laptop, which I usually watch them on my phone, but I've been trying to watch some on, and it works eventually, but it's very slow, and it buffers a lot. So I guess it's probably the internet problem that hopefully will work itself out. Okay, so anyway, we're here to discuss inexpensive lounge, easy listening records that I have uploaded onto Moody Mood Music, my hobby radio station on Live 365, which will be linked below. And if you want to hear further selections from these albums we're going to talk about today and many others, just tune into the station anytime. It is helpful if you do listen once in a while. I know some people tune in just because they want to talk about the records, and I know a lot of you are collectors yourselves and you have your own, and you don't need to be listening to some, easy listening radio station really, because you have all your own records. But if you aren't a person that collects, or if you still listen off and on to things, it does actually help me. It is helpful because it is a hobby station, and I pay for it myself. When you listen, they have advertisements, of course, and as a broadcaster, we pay a fee to have a radio station. for the software and everything that you use to create it and maintain it. And if you have, X number of listeners, when ads are played, you get, that it's an impression, and you get a deduction from your monthly fee based on the amount of listeners you have that have been listening when ads were running. So yeah, it's very helpful if you're doing some housework, or if you're not like I'm an active listener. I'm a person that loves to just like sit headsets and like just listen to music and look at a picture or something. But I also do inactive listening, passive listening, and if that's your thing, that's cool. Just tune Moody Mood Music or any of my other 4 stations: Hawaiian Hi-Fi, Gauguin Gardens, Radio Green Goddess. Tune into any of them for any length of time as background music when you're washing your dishes or cooking dinner or doing something, and that would be greatly appreciated. Honestly, you didn't hear this from me, but if you really don't want to, you can actually just turn it on and turn the volume down and don't listen to it and just leave it on. I'll get credit for that. Honestly. But it's, Moody Mood Music is a great station. If you like easy listening, middle of the road, whatever, it's great. We have so much music, and let's discuss finally, 6 minutes into the video, let's discuss some records that I actually uploaded recently to the station. First up, it's a budget label that, I love my budget labels, and I have a very soft spot in my heart for this one. It's one of the older ones, really goes back to the 40s and 50s. Halo Records, Allegro, Ultraphonic, Remington, they're all interconnected and sort of related and from the same time period, and share even sometimes a lot of the same artwork and the same recordings. I just love this one because I want you to see how amazingly wonderful this record cover is. Isn't it amazingly wonderful? It's so cool. I mean, she's all, there she is. She's in the nude, although you can't, really, I can show this because you can't really see anything. And he's just like smoking a cigarette in his very nice jacket. Love the jacket. Love it. And it's Romberg's New Moon, which was a Broadway musical. Actually, it was considered one of the last operettas to play on Broadway. So it is really an operetta. And typical of Halo Records, why I'm showing this, why I love them so much. It's not the music, it's fine, it's great music. It's the Broadway singers and orchestra, whoever the heck they were, nobody, different groups, we don't know, whatever. But, there's singers on some of the songs, and some of them are instrumentals. The first side are songs from Romberg's New Moon. The second side is just other music, orchestral and vocal. But what we love is that this photograph has absolutely nothing to do with New Moon. It has nothing to do with the characters, with the setting, with the story, with the Broadway production, with the operetta story, absolutely nothing. It's a stock photo. That's what Halo did. They just used stock photos. And when you see their records, which you will find in dollar record bins here and there, the covers almost always never have anything to do with the music. I mean, it might be like, like the Vagabond King, Broadway, songs from Broadway's Vagabond King, and the cover is like cowboys and people riding horses with cactus around them. Like, it has nothing to do. I know there's a classical one I have somewhere of just some random classical piece, and it's women lying down on skis, literally in the snow in a ski resort. It has nothing to do with the music. Almost always, their covers have nothing to do, but they're great. They're like great stock photos, and I love that one particularly. It's awesome. This is one from, it doesn't have a year on it. It's Francis Bay and his orchestra. It's a great record. On Philips Records out of Holland. This one printed in Holland. Yeah. The Netherlands. Fiesta. We love the cover. Now, I do not have them on me, but this is a great dance band, the Francis Bay and his orchestra. So it's a great, big band kind of thing, doing these Latin tunes. There's a good amount of percussion in it, great arrangements. You will find American releases of most of the songs on this album on not Philips, but on Omega or Omega Disc, which is an American label. I want to say it was a budget label, but I don't know. It wasn't exactly really a budget label, but maybe a reissue label. Like, I think they reissued a lot of stuff that was recorded in Europe. I don't know. But a lot of Francis Bay records on Omega Records. This one, I couldn't find one that had all of the tracks that are on this album, but I did see several Latin Francis Bay Omega records that had these different selections, just not all on one, but there would be a couple on one and a couple on another. So I guess they kind of farmed out this album when they did American releases on Omega to different albums of Latin and big band music that Francis Bay did. So it's great stuff. If you see this one, or if you see anything from the Francis Bay Orchestra, it's worth picking up. No matter what label it's on. Here's one. This is America. Kind of interesting with, if you didn't know anything about this, like if you were just going through the bins, whatever, you go, okay, this is America. Love the artwork. We love the artwork. It's a gatefold. Beautiful. And you have a back cover that has the track listings, but it tells you absolutely nothing. Like, who are the artists? Who is this? What record company even is this? Like, it doesn't even, you have to look at the label to see anything. And then you see it's a Longines Symphonette Society recording without any artists particularly credited. So we're assuming it's the Longines Symphonette and singers who at one time were known as the Wittenauer Chorus, but I think by this time they were not. Just the Longines Symphonette Orchestra and Choraliers. Choraliers, that's what they were called then. But it piqued my curiosity. I was on the phone with my friend Scott, because you know how us record nerd people that are just into this sort of stuff will be like, hey, do you have this? What's the deal? And we discovered, like, what is this? Was this a freebie with one of their, these are the people that did the box sets. Like, was this a freebie that came with some other box set? Is this something they sold for, like, with Columbia Record Club or something? What is this? And we really couldn't find much of anything on it, except we did discover that it is on Discogs, but it has a different cover on Discogs, because the Discogs release does have all of the Longines, the Longines Symphonette background that has all the information about Longines Symphonette, and it has all the Michel Piastro's picture, who was the musical director, and all of that. So, and for whatever reason, the one I have has none of that. So we do not know the story behind that. The only thing we could figure out is because of the lettering, the LWS 388, that if the information we found is to be trusted about their catalog numbers, this one would have been from the mid-1960s, which makes sense because Michel Piastro was still the musical director, and that's who on the other editions is featured on the back cover, but this doesn't say anything about it. It doesn't even tell you really who does it, but we assume it's Longines Symphonette. and the choraliers, because some of it's instrumental and some of it is vocal. But I'm here to tell you, this is really a nice set. I mean, sometimes I don't like, some of these patriotic things, and they get super marchy, Sousa marching, and they're really loud and blah, blah, blah. And I kind of, whatever, not my thing exactly. But this has really beautiful arrangements, even like the Star Spangled Banner, it's a really beautiful arrangement of it that I would not object to playing on Moody Mood Music at all. It's lovely. Although on a technical thing, interesting to note, because we did discuss this and look it up. I wondered about this, and I thought, is it okay to play the Star Spangled Banner on Moody Mood Music, or is that sort of impolite, or not appropriate, or whatever? Sources say it is impolite, or it is not appropriate. It's not protocol. I mean, you're not going to be hung out to dry for it or whatever, but not really. The national anthem should be singled out at a certain time, not just played with a bunch of other music. And it should be played by itself, which is interestingly because Longines Symphonette put it in a medley with the song America. And you should not do that. Who knew? I didn't know. I thought to look it up, like, should I even play it on the station? But it also mentioned that, But then, you know what? I think there were a lot of Italian people connected with Longines Symphonette. Michele Piastro, Montavani was musical director after them. Maybe they just didn't know any better and they didn't look it up or anything. Anyway, let's move on. Peggy Lee, A Wonderful Woman. We love Peggy Lee. This is from 1969. We're not actually crazy about this record, which is interesting because I have loved everything I have ever heard from Peggy Lee, including that one weird album she did in the 70s, but I really liked it. This was intentionally much more, hip and groovy, and which I do love when she does that kind of stuff. But I just found the arrangements on some of this pretty harsh, pretty rock, and pretty soul, like kind of a little more than what I would want to go for Moody Mood Music. But having said that, I did really like some of the songs. I mean, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman is a great arrangement of it. I like Spinning Wheel, Everyday People. I don't know what the reception to this album really was. 1969 it came out. It's okay, like I said, it's not my favorite Peggy Lee album though. Well, Ray Bloch. For Lovers Only, Love Can Make You Happy. This is a typical Ray Bloch album. In that it's a very hip, swinging mod. Kind of sounds like you kind of got a bunch of people off the street and said, hey, sing these songs. And they did their thing. That's kind of what it sounds like. I have some other records by him too, and maybe even more to come. But I enjoy it. It's very groovy. Did I say the year? 1970. Very groovy, definitely. Music for Romance from RCA Camden. This is from 1970. Those of us who love the living strings and the living brass and the living marimbas, here is something you may not have seen, the living pianos. A little bit messed up here, but hey, these are dollar records, right? We do love the cover. And it piqued my curiosity because I don't recall ever seeing the living pianos before. And indeed, there is only one other. They only did two. There's one that came the next year, 1971, which is a whole bunch of themes from movies. I haven't heard that one. But that's the only two. They only did two living pianos records as opposed to the 1,657,000 living strings and the 500 living brass. And a few others, quite a few living marimbas, but then the other living things, I think it gets fewer and fewer, but they're out there. And this also was produced by Ethel Gabriel. It's very much, your living strings, but twin pianos, kind of a thing going on. Easy, very 1970s kind of easy listening. Romeo and Juliet theme, Easy to Love, April in Paris, a lot of standards, It's nice. Finally, I want to talk about two records. I had one of these for a long, long time, and it was in horrible condition and too many scratches, and I just couldn't do anything with it. And then more recently, I found volume 1, and I was super excited. So, but it turned out I shouldn't have been that excited, because the new volume 2 that I found was good, and I was able to use many of the tracks from it. The volume 1 that I found is really just in bad shape. Way too many scratches and skips, and the sound, just to really be able to do. I have a limit myself, where I go, okay, we're not dealing with, this is like $1 record. We put all the effort into this. We're going to, and we're not doing it because it's too scratchy, too many skips, too many things. So I have to wait for a better copy of it. But I do want to point them out because they're fascinating. I don't know if you're familiar with the Hollywood record label. It is a budget label. The back of them are pretty much all the same, and they say, oh, we have all these outstanding recording artists. Like, okay, and famous orchestras and blah, blah, blah. We're not going to tell you anything about this particular record. It's just we have all these amazing artists on our label. We like to print their names. We don't necessarily like to feature their actual music on our albums. This is the All-Star Color TV Review. What is that? Is that a TV show? No, it's not a TV show. There's no such thing. It's just, they made it up. Volume 1. Well, where's the picture from? What is this? If it's not the All-Star Color TV, what is it? It is the Diamond Horseshoe in New York City, a nightclub that went from 1938 to 1951. That many celebrities performed at, and that featured a sort of gay 90s girly reviews, like sort of pre-Ziegfeld, well, during Ziegfeld, showgirls, in outfits, kind of gay 90s style, along with whatever orchestras and different performers they had. Well-known performers. But that's not what this record is. That's just what they have pictures from on both of them. In fact, on this one, these two people, Fritzie Sheff and Joe Howard, who were singers who sang at the Diamond Horseshoe, which was in the Paramount Hotel, by the way, in New York City, in the basement, are not on the record at all. They just used their picture. They're not. It says, you see, starring Vic Damone and Lawrence Brooks. This is the back of that one. But when you play it with Alan Roth's orchestra and Glenn Osser's orchestra. But the labels don't tell you who anyone is. On any of the Hollywood labels, they don't do this. I have several different Hollywood records, but they just list the tracks. They don't tell you who's performing them. And I can tell you that there are 2 male vocal tracks on here, and they're both Vic Damone. There's no Lawrence Brooks on this record, even though they say there is. And as far as the instrumentals go, which is the majority of the album, they don't tell you which one is Alan Roth's orchestra and which one is Glenn Osser's orchestra. You have to just guess, I guess, or you didn't care. You just played the record and whatever. And the same here. This one has a big list of characters. I do think on this one, all of the people they mention are on it. I did listen to the whole thing. Orchestra by Camerata. Vic Damone, Charles Magnante, who was an accordionist. There are several songs in here that are accordion-centered. I'm going to assume that's actually him. Mullen sisters are there. Lonnie Ross, Peggy Mann. Those people are, Vic Damone, those people are on the album, and it's Camerata's orchestra. But again, Diamond Horseshoe Review. But again, when you look at the label, you know, it doesn't tell you who's performing what. Particularly frustrating when it comes to the orchestras. I mean, the singers, you can kind of figure it out, but I don't know. Anyway, having said that, I only could use selections from this one for Moody Mood Music, but do you not love it? I love these. I want to find a better copy of this, hopefully, in a dollar bin somewhere cheaper that I can use. Because the music's nice, you know, nice, easy listening kind of music. But Hollywood records, if you ever see them, they're interesting. I have quite a few. I pick them up here and there, and this is just very common practice. Like the record will be, you know, whatever, romantic, moody, whatever, and some beautiful picture on it, starring, you know, this person and this orchestra and that orchestra, and then you play it, and it's like, there won't be something from a certain person, like, that singer's not on here. Like, I know them, they're not on here. This other person's on here, and I don't know what orchestra is what orchestra. You gotta kind of hardcore love that in a way. I do. And I love that this still has, look at this great sticker on it. Okay, let's listen to some needle drops from these and a few other records that we did not discuss. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up or comment. Leave a comment below. If you can't think of anything to say, it even helps if you just leave a little heart or a little palm tree or a little vomit emoji, whatever. It doesn't matter, anything. Just hi, whatever helps. It helps the video get, in the algorithms or whatever. And as I said, the radio station is on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Listen anytime, and please do drop in once in a while, even if you just want to, wash your dishes or do some housework or do some reading, We love to have you, because it does give us a little dollar make me holla. Dollar back. I don't get any money, but you get like credit for having listened off of the rate I pay. And there's so much music. I know I can't upload anything in the past couple days, but there's more than 11,000 songs in rotation on Moody Mood Music right now. So I think there's, I think you'll be okay. Thank you guys. Have a good week.